before I talk about the movie, I thought I'd mention this funny moment that happened before the movie started for me. My booking started at 2 o'clock. I got there about 10 to 2. So I sat there in my seat, ready to watch peak fiction. Well, there were film trailers and ads, you know, the usual stuff before the film actually plays. This went on for about, half an hour. Yes, you heard me right. 30 minutes of ads and trailers when it was supposed to start at 2 o'clock. Also, it was a 4DX screening, so if you've ever been to those things, you know, it has those moving seats, it squishes you with like water and air on your hair and stuff like that. Well, imagine your chair moving around like a roller coaster being squirted in the face for 15 minutes while the cinema repeats the same ads and trailers over and over again. It's like some modern Clockwork Orange scene or something. I just thought I'd mention this because it was such a bizarre moment, so I should probably give you my thoughts on the first movie. To keep it brief, well, what does it really say? For how it's pushed the boundaries of animation and visuals on a large scale, blending elements with the comics with the stylization animation, replicating 2D detailings while having aesthetics from the comics but also having 3D models, erasing everything that is Spider-Man, what it means to be Spider-Man, from the comics, movies, shows alike, making Miles stand out to be his own, figuring out what it means to wear the mask, to be Spider-Man, and also exploring the variants of Spider-Man. You get the point. Some I knew, and some I was skeptical of, but enjoyed. Spectacle to behold. Truly a piece of cinema. So it's been a year since the events of Into Spider-Verse. Miles Morales has been Spider-Man for a while dealing with the issues that comes with it, having to divide his time with Spider-Man and dealing with the regular Miles Morales problems. But until a villain named the Spot shows up and plans to take everything from Miles, even if it means traveling across the multiverse. When he reunites with Gwen, he's then brought into the Spider Society, a group of various spider people who travel the multiverse to correct all the abnormalities that seem to be going around the multiverse. But when he meets the one in charge, Spider-Man
2099,
and also discovering the true motivations behind the organization, he's left with not just a conflicting dilemma, but also has to go against the web, so to speak. Because we've seen Miles discover the Spider-Verse, now he goes across the Spider-Verse. Get it? I hate myself. So, with the visuals, I already thought Into Spider-Verse really pushed the boundaries of its visuals and the animation, but here, they go further and across, with the intricate detailings of variant universes that we see. Not to mention the characters as well. Like a villain very early on, he's detailing the very old Renaissance sketching from Da Vinci era. You know, blending 2D designings but with a 3D animation. His weapons being grenades, for example, when they're about to ignite, they get like their own pop-up bubbles and it's displayed like an old-fashioned blueprint schematic. And I just thought that was really cool. Like, he looks so good and I just love the dedication to that style. Or like when a certain phrase is mentioned that's commonly used, but in the corner of the screen it'll tell you in a small blurb what that means. Kind of like an actual comic tells you like certain words meaning. So it's really truly embracing more about how it feels like a large motion comic. Because like there's so many scenes in particular, I just got so engrossed with certain visuals of it. Like there's certain like colors, there's certain stylizations, and I thought they were beautiful, especially like with Gwen's universe, because we focus on her for a little bit. And her world's like detailing of it is so gorgeous. Like with certain scenes with Gwen and a certain other character, and they share quite long emotional moments. So as they convey, the backgrounds alternate to these strong various colours, symbolising their emotions, that shining off their faces in the background almost resemble freshly painted canvases. And like a freshly painted canvas, you can see the paint just drip in the background seamlessly, and it's so beautiful. I love those moments, it really captured my eyes. Seeing the different styles for like certain transitional scenes or premonitions is also a touch I loved. To not give too much away, but there's one style which is essentially looking kind of like a blank piece of paper, but imagine everything drawn and animated all in just black ink. You know, it's like a notebook kind of thing. You see like some of the backgrounds, they're all colored in black, but there's still got like scribbles of white and stuff, and it just looks so good. And it's also playing to the feeling of distortion within the context scene, and I really do like that touch. There are other various styles, but those are the ones that struck out to me that I really enjoyed. And also, the fights in the movie, they go way up in scale in terms of awesomeness. And it starts from the very first fight, and it continues to like go higher and higher up in awesomeness. You get some goofy ones, like with Miles versus the Spot when they first meet. It's a lot of fun and charm to it. But we get such brilliantly intense scenes like with Miguel and Miles throwing hands. The intensity of Miguel's strides as Miles jolts away from his reach. So safe to say, the movie's visuals have definitely heightened, and I cannot wait to see how they top this and beyond. So in this movie, we're more focused on 3 particular characters, but I will say we get more variants of Spider people we get to see. We get Spider-Punk, Spider-India, Jessica Drew, and a whole bunch. We get to see a whole bunch of them. They're fine in their own rights, but I'm sticking to the ones that are more focused on. Like with Gwen, we get about, I'd say 15 to 20 minutes of her alone dedicated, just like with her and her universe, from when she lost her version of Peter Parker. Like that was talked about in the first movie, but I felt like that was brushed aside. But here we get a much more in-depth focus on it, and I really do like that aspect. We also get to see her after the events of Into Spider-Verse and how she's going about her universe. And Gwen kind of goes through her own arc as well, with her trying to deal with her own emotional issues, well, getting close to someone, engaging with other people, because after losing one of her best friends, she's kind of uncertain about making new friends because she doesn't want to get hurt again. She doesn't want to feel that same loss or go through anything like that, so she detaches herself from anyone and doesn't get invested in anybody. She just kind of distances herself, not to get hurt again. From keeping her identity a secret from her father, Captain Stacy, who's after Spider-Gwen for the supposed murder of Peter Parker, which obviously she didn't do, having to isolate herself from her universe entirely, but she does try to break through her emotional barriers. And then we have Miles, and well, Miles is going through the course of being a superhero 101, you know, saving the people, balancing his social life while going through the hero stuff. You know, with great power comes great responsibility.
Don't you dare finish that sentence! Don't do it!
With Miles, he's making a few mistakes, but he gets the job done. Well, as Spider-Man that is. Well, that is until he's brought up to speed with everything that's going on in the Spider Society and its true purposes, and along with the Spot who's going for his own blight MO. Even when he's trying to do things right, he's trying to do things right in his own way, instead of following the same beat for beat of the canon events, that being the webbing formulated consistency of being Spider-Man. And then we have Miguel. Oh boy. He's basically the grand seer of the Spider Society, keeping things in check, everything being in the right place, dealing with all the universal abnormalities. However, he sees that our Miles is unworthy of being Spider-Man for many reasons due to the events from the first movie. Miguel could be easily seen as the antagonist for the persistence on Miles not being Spider-Man, but from what he's observed and experienced, you can kind of understand where he's coming from to a certain point, trying to keep the order and the realities of the events of canon. For if the canon is broken, the strings of consistency that holds the canon together will fall apart, and snowball to other worlds if unchecked. Also at the same time, this whole objective goes against what it means to be Spider-Man. The first movie, it talks about anyone can wear the mask, how anyone can be Spider-Man. This one, directly to Miles, is trying to prove the opposite, telling him that he's unworthy, he's not even Spider-Man. In Miles' case, he is seen as like a paradox, with Miguel mostly trying to wear him down and try to let fate take its course. But with all this going on, while I was watching the movie, this scene in particular triggered in my head.
Miles, the hardest thing about this job is you can't always save everybody.
So you feel more for Miles because he wants to be the best Spider-Man he can, going against the canon, with the weight of the multiverse against him, trying to save everyone he can, no matter what from the canon events. All these Spider-Men, of course, don't like how this is going. They've all lost someone close, including Miles. They'd give anything to go back and save their loved ones. But doing so would literally erase the Spider Society and their roles as Spider-Men. Spider people? You know, some things have to be done. Because it seems like they're going against the motto, but instead of changing it to their own objective. With great power comes a great loss. Okay, let me talk about the Spot now, the main villain here. I only know about this guy because I seen the 1994 cartoon where he was in it for like one episode, where he was like this wimpy British guy for some reason. Like, you have no power here, Kingpin. I'm the new Kingpin. I'll never forget that. I love his tie into his creation and his overall motivations. Like, we first see him and he's pretty much like this lanky villain of the week kind of thing. He's like the Toilinator of this world, apparently. Just to give you some idea. As the film progresses, so does he in terms of scale and intimidation. Also, when he becomes more of a threat, his design is more grimly, creating an otherworldly feel with it, giving such a dark and warped look and feel to him, posing much more as a threat. And again, certain stylizations with him getting stronger, I loved it. Such beautiful work. Like, imagine seeing this guy from the 1994 cartoon to this. What an absolute glow up. My only complaint about the movie is, well, just about the near end, you really start to feel the runtime. Like, it's not like an irritation, like, oh my god, when's it gonna end? But it's just like, you can really feel like it's been a long time, like, wow, how long's this been going on for? Like, I feel like I've been here for a while. But not to an annoying degree, you just start to feel it. And this might be a goofy take, but I feel like it should have been more dividing with who was with and against Miguel. Like, I get what they're trying to do here, like, oh, they're trying to pin the whole multiverse against Miles, like, he's trying to be the most Spider-Man out of these Spider-Men. Like, don't get me wrong, we've seen a couple of people actually quit the society or secretly help Miles. But I feel like if they had made Miles create, like, the shifting divide, like this ripple of motivation within the society, where some people follow Miguel and they understand his point of view, or maybe they fear him, but then there's some people who felt more encouraged by Miles' words and they stand with him and try to fight against this, you know, restriction, wanting the society to be really what being Spider-Man is all about, and not being dictated by who gets saved and who doesn't. But I'm sure we'll get more of that sort of thing and beyond. Uh-oh, spoiler time. My spidey sense is tingling. Here's a timestamp. Swing away. We get to see so many, and I mean many, like, it's an Easter egg fun time of, like, different Spider-Men throughout the entire movie. But for me, I was waiting to see a particular bunch. Spectacular Spider-Man, Scarlet Spider, and the 1994 Spider-Man. Now, I know we see Unlimited in the chase scene, so that's one. Spectacular we see in the posters and screenshots, which, okay, hype. We definitely hear him by the man, the legend himself, Josh Keaton. Oh my god, it felt so good hearing him again. It's been so long, Josh. It was good hearing you again. It's like hearing from an old friend. We also heard Yuri Lowenthal's Spider-Man, which was nice. And then we got to see Ben Reilly, the Scarlet Spider, from who I mostly know from the 1994 cartoon, from the episode where he meets all his different selves, which is cool.
Whoa! I don't think I even want to hear your story.
Funny how the 1994 cartoon made such a drastic shift and almost opened the gateway in some way to this idea. Like, years later, you know, it's crazy. Like, I'm gonna be honest, I don't know if it's just me. If some people know about Ben Reilly more can tell me, go for it, tell me. But I feel like they've done my boy dirty here. Like, they just really just played him as a joke. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm not like some people like, oh my god, they ruined this character for me. They could have done more with him, or did something different with him. It's like, I waited for him to show up, man. I feel kind of ripped. I mean, the movie was, I like the movie, but like, you know what, screw it. Screw the movie. It ruined Ben Reilly for me, 0 out of 10. I'm done. So, of course, we get to see Peter B. Parker again, which was nice. And he's got a daughter that'll scare Marvel comic executives. They were cute and all, but I do admit, they kind of played him up with the whole, oh, I'm a father now, blah, 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 thing a bit too much. Like, not at first, but when the tension was high and Miles is being chased by every web-slinger across the entire multiverse, he and Miles have a moment to talk, and I just wish they'd let him get to his point then and there. Like, I get it when they get to that point, but I feel like they're just too pushy on that kind of joke. But I get what their meaning was, but I just felt like they should just get to it immediately, you know, especially when the tension was high. But that's just me. Okay, the twist. Holy hell! Having Miles encounter what would have been his reality is a bittersweet ending. The way it ended? Oh yeah, mind-blowing, like what the f***? Clash of alternate lives, which can play out in part 2 very well if done right. The conflict, the misery, and the emotions from these two will be very interesting to see play out in the next part. A funny thing, as Miles was trying to make the machine send him home to his universe, and when the computer detected him from Universe 42, or rather from Earth 42, my spidey sense was going off, telling me something was wrong, but I thought I was just overthinking it. But no, my subconscious was actually sparking some actual intelligence. And also with the pacing of back and forth with the shots of Miles to Gwen in the same rooms but from different universes, showing us the clear error here, I loved. I knew about Beyond the Spider-Verse was coming out, but my brain forgot that this movie was a two-parter, with this being part 1. So, when the movie ended, pretty much like everyone else, I was like, no! I seen my boy Noir for a few seconds, and I gotta wait another year again? Now this got me thinking of a tinfoil theory here, so don't take it seriously. I'm not even defining it. It's just an idea I had in my head. With the cliffhanger showing the Prowler Miles, what if he was the Miles to watch out for? I mean, yes, Miguel was focusing on 1610's Miles, our Miles, that he was not meant to be Spider-Man. He had to wait for the events of Canon to take effect on his world. But he didn't think to look at Earth's 42 Miles, who's went down a darker path. Also, him and his uncle weren't too fazed by seeing another version of Miles. I mean, the Spider Society are mostly adjusted to the fact that there are various other spider people, you know, swinging around and fixing all the other, like, abnormalities, but not the average citizen or certain people would know about these abnormalities. So are they aware of the society? Maybe. Possibly. I mean, brother Miles doesn't really react to the alternate world where his dad exists. So, well, maybe there's more. Well, obviously there's more to this universe when we'll explore that and beyond. A world with no Spider-Man cause the spider went across the universe and bit Miles from Earth 1610, therefore distorting Earth 42. But again, it's a tenfold speculation, so if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. Well, essentially, I was blown away with how they continued off with the story and the heavy confliction of the characters. You understand from everyone's point of view in this movie, with its amazing animation and visual quality, keeping your eyes busy. And I mean they'll keep you busy, it's almost like assaulting your eye sockets, like Jesus Christ. While also loving the variations of different spider people, leaving you begging for more and see how the rest turns out. So if you can, suit up, swing on by and see for yourself this brilliant sequel from the best Spider-Man movies of all time. This has been Drew, those are my views, and I bid you adieu.